Alright.
I'm gonna
Welcome
try
back
to
to the
avoid
Arena Watch
putting.
podcast, guys. Let's see if I could get the cameras going here. Turn off, turn on. Maybe that does it. I always have a hard time with this. Oh, there we go. We even got Celery. And Trop just popped in just magically right when we started hitting camera. That's nice.
I could always tell. So now I guess Pack Demon is the two squares. I guess it's for the best.
Ah, damn it. Yeah, I guess I don't have the high quality camera, so figures, right?
So it just turns you into two squares, yeah.
1 second.
I have to unplug and plug it in every time if I want to get anything working here. That's the funny part. Control. Let's see if I can't turn up the
The two
brightness.
squares are gone, sadly.
Brightness is up. Maybe that computer screen will brighten up my face. But let's see. That and I need to bounce back and forth between the chat probably if we want to get this working properly. Always seems to be the case. But everything's huge now. Everything's a lot bigger and more visible, except for us. We're really tiny now.
Yeah.
So we're actually featuring the map a lot better than we used to. It's in full display for everyone to see. All right, there we go.
Instead of featuring ourselves.
Yeah, we want to make this about the arena, not us. Come on, right?
Tiny.
We could be two little boxes. It's fine. That's not what matters here. But let's start off. How'd you guys do this week? As I try to get these adverts out.
As is usually the case, Trop doesn't really have anything important to say, so I'll go ahead and start out.
Yeah, he doesn't do well anyway, so we don't.
Yeah,
He makes the mistake of bringing the
picked him
same team every week, with a
Yeah.
few
Just
changes
accepting
to
from
wait.
where I am.
So obviously, because he's not versatile, he can't handle the challenges Arena throws at him. He just,
Yeah,
doesn't think things through anymore. So
he, he's really there for you guys that are just trying to get up into the master ranks. So, you can take some lessons from him. But no, I this week, in case you didn't realize, it was incredibly friendly. I think the automatic placement positions, like where your units got placed if you didn't make any changes, were all along the front line. And so for a lot of weeks, the automatic placement positions will put at least one, if not more, units in spots where you can't reach turn one.
mhm.
And so they didn't do that this week, and it was something where you could. I think I had like 14 turn one wins.
Yeah.
It was just a very, very friendly setup, and I made one mistake all week. Lost a unit due to that mistake, and that cost me my perfect week. So ended up at rank 15 due to losing 8 points.
I lost a bit more than that. I was doing fine, and then late night pack does his dirty work. You know how that goes. I feel like I'm two different people when I play this game. You know what I mean? Like I'm in my right state of mind and I'm doing things by the book, and then boom, something happens, and then I'm a totally different person, and I can't handle what's being thrown at me like in a simple, basic manner. It's like, yeah, I probably should pull back and just kill that Hellion this turn. I could kill the rest of those units later, but it's like, no, I'm gonna go in when I know I can't because I don't have the AoE. Like, obviously I don't have Dragon Lord True Form bloomed and awakened, but yeah, I don't even have him past like level 80. I think he's at 80 or something, unfortunately. So I got crit once early on in the week, and then later I also just ran into my death. But other than that, I literally perfects the whole week. So that was interesting. And like you said, I got multiple first turn clears. Like, I had more turn one clears this week than I had the entire time playing the game.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Trop's over here like, I always get first turn clears. What are you talking about?
I honestly didn't. I honestly probably didn't get as many first turn clears as you guys did this week. I tend to play a bit more carefully. Like I don't care that much about turn one clears. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't get hit because that's my main play style is to get hit as less as possible. And from what I've been hearing, Celery's starting to adapt that play style, which is good. It's like finding the balance of how slow can you be without losing points from turn, but also risking less crits. We have Pack Demon here as a prime example of what happens if you just try to take every hit possible. I feel like me and Pack Demon have opposite playstyles. I try to get hit as little as possible. Pack Demon tries to get hit as much as possible.
Uh-huh.
So we kind of balance each other out.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Well, you're gonna have to explain to me how you do that. I know my units aren't as fast as yours, so I don't know how you're holding back and then killing everyone turn two. But okay.
Them being slower isn't actually bad because of the new arena AI. Them being slower than the other units means that you can potentially bait them towards you even more.
But you're not
Before
physical,
you...
so you don't miss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Breath doesn't really miss, but still.
Breath is so nice to use and go against because you can't get crit, and you don't have to rely on crit when you're playing either. So it's a good mix of both in a sense. If that makes sense,
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, it's good. Those don't have to rely on being lucky and stuff. I honestly wish more people use this kind of stuff because one of the things people get worried about is crits. Um, but yeah, I'm mainly using, I guess, breath and a little bit of martial. So crits aren't that much a thing. Like I don't rely on crits or anything. I just have to hope not to get crit by the opponent. Trying to remember what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something, but I can't. I
Hmm.
can't
Yeah.
quite remember.
I'll jump in. I will say that the don't get hit, or it's part of the don't get hit strategy, but the part of a big part of the one turn, why I got so many one turns is rough. Despite being my one failure this week as well, he also just took out an enormous amount of units turn one that before I had him wouldn't have been possible. He hits very hard in that 6 range, and just effectively another fan breath or paw stomp that opened up a ton of options for me. The video is frozen where everyone saw a ghost.
Video always gets frozen. I just have to constantly click on it, which also means that the chat is frozen. So let me click on that as well. It
Yeah,
only records it for like a few minutes, and if I don't constantly click on it, it disappears. I mean, it freezes basically.
So as you've been made aware, this is the Beard Podcast.
No.
That's what we've been telling people.
I'm sorry, guys. My 5 o'clock shadow is already rolling in, and it's 2 p.m. So I hope that's enough. Your face says it all.
Yeah. Nice. It looks like we're up to 6 viewers already. Please feel free to participate in the chat. We kind of discuss among ourselves the thing that we think for this week, but we also react to the chat. Any questions, comments you guys may have. If you're wondering who we are or who our guest Starscream is, there's a lot of things we could discuss.
Yeah. I really liked this week. If I didn't screw around, and I feel like that happens every week, this was a good chance at a perfect week, I think. Even with the physical team, it might have been possible. It's weird because sometimes because I can't see what the match looks like ahead of time. Obviously, you don't have to worry if it's like If you're a breath team, you don't have to worry. But with a physical team, sometimes I'm like, gee, do I build agility or do I build HP? Right? So for me, that's a problem because literally one match, I lost points because I didn't have a certain weapon. Right? And I started bringing that weapon instead. And then because I brought that weapon, then I lost another match because I did bring that weapon. You know what I mean? So it's like I got crit one time, whereas bringing the claw, and it's like, well, I needed the agility for another thing. And well, I didn't bring HP, right? So I brought the claw because I needed agility. That time around, I lost points because I got crit, and I didn't have enough HP. Had I had a sword, I would have had enough HP to survive the, what was it,
By the way, if
1200
I can
damage
jump in
crit.
for a sec, I just remember what I was gonna say. It was just a quick blurb. You know how you're saying that breath teams are good and everything. Well, I just so happened to look upon Mad Guru's professional review. He said that breath units are the worst. They essentially finish by turn 4 or 5, so that can't possibly be correct.
I mean, they are terribly consistent, and as we all know, this
Totally
is our
customers for them.
podcast here, right? This is the our podcast. Ours.
Oh
It's
shit! I
ours.
don't hear
It's
you
not.
guys.
It's not you. It's not me. It's ours. This is the communist, digital communist strategy, TM podcast. I know it's ironic that it's communist with a trademark on it, you know, a signature of like capitalism. But you have to understand, this is us we're talking
Why do I
about.
not hear you guys now?
You can't hear us? You can't hear us at all? No, wait, what's happening? Is there something in the chat? Let me see this really quick. What's going on?
Nothing in particular in the chat.
Oh, I thought someone said that they couldn't hear us.
Not in the chat, at least.
Okay, cool. All right. Maybe it's just Trop that can't hear us. That's fine. He could watch this part on replay, and we could just make fun of him right now while he can't hear us, and then see what happens. I mean, his face isn't showing any expressions, but it usually doesn't anyway. So
Well, he's moving. I guess.
he is moving. Look at him.
He's not
He's
frozen.
typing. He's yeah. But breath teams, as far as Mad's insight went, breath teams are super consistent. You know, you don't need to crit. And obviously, if you have a breath team with like a few breath units, it doesn't work. You need a full breath team generally because the breaths all need to overlap on each other. So that way you hit the AoE on everybody and the damage stacks, synergizes, and kills everyone. That doesn't happen if you have like a mix of a single target here, breath over here, or if you have like an S-Stark weak breath over here and a strong breath over there. Hold on, let me see. Someone's saying, Trop, am I the only one whose sound's completely cut out? You're on mute. The call literally says you have a mute icon next to your thing. Okay, now you also dropped out and back in. But yeah, and now it's saying your headset volume was also muted. But let me see. I'm not seeing anything now. You should be able to talk now.
Yeah, we'll be done at like.
When you need to go? We got a banana celery.
Yeah, about.
So he covers all the branches of the food spectrum, you know, that you need for a healthy diet.
Yeah, we're going to be heading out for trick-or-treating at about 25 minutes.
All right, that sounds good. I think we could talk about this map particularly. Yep. I think between Starscream and Trop, those two are probably going to be the best for... oh, I saw a green box around Trop. He's back.
Trop's back.
Between Starscream and...
my Mad Guru segment?
You said something about Breath Team sucking. Him saying they're like finished by turn 4, and then me and Celery went off about the digital communist strategy that we have on the podcast, and consistency, and this is our podcast, yada yada. But between you and Celery, because no, sorry, you and Starscream, because Celery needs to go pretty soon in 25 minutes, looks like. I think we got a lot of good people to talk about what it bring for a rank week, basically. So looking at the weight, it's 155. So I think the general category people are going to want to fill is 4 A ranks, even if they're not bloomed, just because they have more HP, more everything, and then maybe a D. And then some people might want to bring an F because, F units do have A rank abilities. So you might want a Kasiz. That might one-shot someone. You never know. But I'm definitely going with a Beast team. So it's basically the same thing. It's either a Beast team or a Dragon team. That's how most people do it, A rank weeks. You bring a Hellion or your Claude for the leadership, or you bring Boreal for his leadership. I think is it Boreal? And
Boreal.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the Dragon team will look like this week. I don't actually have a good Dragon team. I mean, I have some of the units. I have Black Dragon, but I don't have him ranked up at all. And I don't have Orochi, so I haven't tried really farming for him much. There's just too much they're throwing at us, and going back now for that event seems almost pointless.
Yeah, I got Orochi just for the master ranks, and then now I'm just hoping to get the sword, pretty much like most people have. So yeah, I won't be bringing Orochi either. It's still A1. Haven't even leveled it up or anything.
I would have brought Claude had I had mine maxed. So for me, it's going to be Hellion. It's going to be Hellion, Slann. I know Slann seems like he's a bit hard to use. His movement's great. His range is great. Turn 1 is all you need for range, because turn 2, at that point, you're already in range, in line to do other attacks. He's great on his defense, other stuff like that. It's consistency, I mean, he might miss, but that's just about it. Then it's going to be him, Slann, Kiefer. I know Kiefer's the only beast that I'm not using on the team, and that's probably going to be most people. And probably I'm going to use the Saber Cub, and I think that's going to be most people's teams. So I'm not using Hellion. I'm sorry, Claude. I'd use Hellion, but other people would probably use Claude, and that's going to be the most meta team. I think is going to be Claude, Slann, Kiefer.
Where's your headband?
I feel like you guys are sleeping on the nature team.
Saber Cub.
Nature team.
Yes, the ever OP nature team, as well as the Bunnycorn. He's still OP, even all these weeks later.
Yeah.
Even
he's a beast.
Every week is Whoosh week with Bunnycorn.
You got to go nature. You got to bring in Devil Moth, Handsome Crab, Armored Scorpion, Snowbird, and the other D rank crab. I think that'll be your best chances of success this week. All nature call. I'm not sure what synergy they share, but you'll find one. And yeah, like that's. I mean, you could bring Stump Chump.
Yeah, that's your.
You could definitely bring Stump Chump. There's no argument against it, other than mobility. But typically, you want your units.
If you're going full nature, you're obviously going for the turtling strat using Armored Scorpion. Just let the opponent come to you, win in like 8 turns or maybe even 10 turns. Like you just have to kill one of them because you'll stay alive.
So, do you guys think Kiefer's dethroning Ragnar? Or are we still going to see Ragnar this week?
I feel like we're going to see Ragnar just because people love bringing Ragnar.
Which is so weird. He's like terrible to face a lot of times, but he doesn't. He's not good to use. He's just not.
I'll go ahead and say it. I hope people keep bringing Ragnar.
Okay.
I don't know if they will. I feel like they will.
This week it's going to be easy, but in previous weeks it was bad.
Yeah, I do not I don't recommend bringing Ragnar. Bloom Saber Cub can one shot him, and so
Hmm.
he's lost pretty much completely lost relevance.
Which I'm glad
Uh,
about because he didn't serve a point in offense, and now he's gonna serve no point in defense as well, which makes me happy. Because I hate
yeah,
defensive characters that ruin the meta, just ruin
yeah,
matches. So
yeah.
that
So
makes me really happy to see
yeah,
the death of Ragnar.
yeah. So yeah, hopefully if you have Kiefer maxed, which everyone should, because we that event just ended. If you didn't max him, you've missed out.
Hmm.
Uh, you should absolutely bring him. I don't think it matters what team you're running. You should be bringing Kiefer.
Yeah, I could agree with
Uh,
that.
and so for my team, I'll make sure I get it in there before I head out. I'm going to be going Boreal because mine just happens to be maxed, and I think he could be really strong this week in combination with Percival.
Hmm.
You do a little, A rank sorrow pool and try and get some good turn one rolling attacks.
Yeah, I could see
Uh,
that. So you're gonna make
and
sure he has a
so,
lot of agility, Percival.
oh
I
yeah,
forgot to mention I'm gonna use him too.
I'm going to be making sure Percival outspeeds Boreal, which may or may not require a Sword of Rune on Boreal. I hope it doesn't. Uh,
I mean,
and I'm
Boreal
pretty
needs
sure it
HP,
won't.
so it would be nice.
Yeah, it's not bad if it does because he's so fast that he can handle it,
I mean,
especially at max awaken.
it has 40 more HP than Flail would, so it's nice.
Yeah. So I might be doing Sword of Rune Boreal, might be doing Flail Boreal, and then the which I probably will do Sword of Rune because I want to run Flail on Kiefer, and so it'll be Kiefer, Boreal, Percival, and my last unit is probably going to be Slann. Uh, It'll somewhat depend on matchups, but that's probably the standard fourth A unit, and then fifth unit is always going to be my D rank Saber Cub.
Yeah, and are you gonna build agility? Like, okay, because Ruff's claws are perfect for him, right? Am I?
Yep.
Ruff's claws work
Rust Claws are
perfectly
currently the best item in the game, or best weapon in the game for Saber Cub.
because Saber Cub. I mean, Saber Cub typically missed. I think Bloom gives him what 10 agility. It's not a lot, but it adds up, right? Is it
Yeah,
10?
it's
Because he doesn't get a special
for
node. He
A
just gets a
rank.
small node.
Yeah, I normally run max agility on Saber Cub when I'm doing normal weeks with S ranks. That may not change too much this week. I adjust my agility based on matchups, and there's a lot of fast units that we're expecting to see in A ranks. Uh,
Hmm.
so I think most of the time I'm probably still going to be running full agility on him just to get the best chance of hitting, uh, and also to outspeed any Ragnars that I see.
Hmm.
So that's I think I will be still going full agility on if I do happen to see teams that for whatever reason aren't bringing fast units, I would definitely adjust his equipment to be tankier.
So, and to clarify, sorry, the armor though is that also agility, or is that going to be more HP at that point?
Uh, for if I'm running up against any of the higher power teams, I'll still go agility there. If I'm running up against a slower team, I will switch the armor to be tankier.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess.
Because yeah, if I'm trying to hit something that's up close to 400 agility, I don't want to be attacking that at like 250 or whatever his base agility is.
Well, that's a good point. I'm gonna definitely figure out what I want to do with that, because I can't have him miss. That's a thing. It's nice that he's going up against A ranks and below, because there's probably not going to be too much agility that he has to face. Obviously, he's not targeting Boreal. He's definitely going to be targeting Ragnar, so he could definitely outspeed a Ragnar now, which is nice. So I don't know how much agility I'm going to be willing to give him, but we'll see. What about you, Starscream? What are you going to build on them moving forward?
So I think it's going to be an interesting week because I don't think everyone's going to have A7A ranks. I know myself, I'd love to bring Slom this week, but I only have him at A6. And so it'll be interesting where people have been using their resources. I think, yeah, I'm going to mostly bring a beast team with Kiefer. I think you'll see a lot of Kiefer and Percival just because everybody should have been able to get them to max rank. And yeah, I think the argument I'd make for other teams though is just that Percival does have the blind on his attack. He's got enough HP that he's not going to get one shot, and yeah, he's fast enough that he's going to for sure get an attack off. So if you have a purely physical team, you could get screwed over by the blind. So if you had like a dragon team which like had a backup where you could use breath or something, that might be super useful.
And what do you think about people bringing Viz Major? It looks like Mirion Muse is mentioning that.
I think, yeah, that's going to be...
Because he does have
mine maxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got Swoosh, so that's definitely a sleeper unit.
A lot of people seem to have this whoosh weakness, which is nice. So no Ragnars.
Sorry.
Bring your Viz Major. What's he weak to? Like Sizz and Frizz or something? Or
I have no idea.
good try. This is Shark Eye. Oh, Shark Eye. Do you change your name every time? Wait. Oh, it's French. It's French because, you know, people in Belgium speak French. So it's Mirion? Muse? Mew?
Frizz and Zap.
I don't know. Frizz and Zap. Oh, that's awkward, but also killable because Kiefer.
Yeah,
So I don't mind.
gonna-
Bring the Viz Major. Bring him. I would love for everybody to bring their Viz Major this week. Do that, please.
Yeah, the map looks pretty friendly overall. There's that one unreachable spot where the Percival is. But other than that, should be able to get some good hits with Claude, Kiefer, Boreal. Like I said, doing a Percival pull on the Golem spot, and then hitting 2 units with Boreal. Would be a good start to a match.
I did want to add in, if you are thinking about bringing in Viz, like I said, I expect a lot of Percivals and a lot of Kiefers, and they're both heavy res against Swoosh. So
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. So I think other than that, I think what did I want to say? I already forgot.
Your bucket.
But with this map, what do you guys think of the map? So we got obviously the sides are a bit blocked off. We got a just random block on both the enemy side and your side, the player side, just right in the middle, just kind of not blocking your path forward, but blocking your path in the middle, I guess. So it kind of splits apart your team. It's kind of strange. We've never had that before, so definitely a
I
first.
just wanted to say I got Beckon from level 8 to 9 in one book. That's pretty good.
Who?
I got
Beckon. Oh yeah.
Beckon, yeah, because I wanted to save my books until Sunday for the tack points,
Mm-hmm.
and I managed to get from 8 to 9 in one book, so that didn't really up my tack points a lot. Let's try 10.
I mean, that's just more poor luck for you, I guess. Like you're trying to use a bunch of books.
Did you guys hear that Mystic cleared the entire shop? The DQ7 shop,
Oh, Mystic, yeah.
The entire DQ7,
including the 9,999 exchanges for the gold.
Yep.
That's crazy. Like we had all these guides, all these strategies of how to run the battle road really quickly, and he did it better than all. I mean, he did it more than all of us. I don't know if he did it better.
Yeah.
It's set, you know. There's just one way to do it, really.
Yep.
But damn. Yeah, I don't know. I fall asleep with
yeah.
my phone in my hand sometimes. I have to use my phones. Other things go on, and it's like I forget, you know, to have the battle road running so I could get those medals. But yeah, that's crazy.
Well, he also got to...
I with the Mega Boss tokens, I was able to clear everything except the gold and the orbs. So I got all the crystals, and then I'll have to check. I haven't finished using them up, and I think I'll be able to get most of the pearls. I bought all 100 dragon pearls. I brought all rank 6 dragon spears.
I think you doubled me on medals there because I kept getting crit. So it's like I had matches that should have been 1 turn clears that were turning into 2 turn clears. I mean, 2 attempt clears. Yeah, it's not turns.
Yeah.
But gosh, yeah. So I'm not going to be able to clear out much of it, but it doesn't seem like it's going to matter. I know for the Dragon Fest, because they and JP had Dragon Fest before rank 7, I believe. So they didn't have the rank 7 material. It wasn't in the shop, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But the Beast Fest was here when the rank 7 material was in the shop. So if you are trying to get Vera and those other units, well, it's going to be in the shop. You could buy Beast crystals for yourself, so you could rank up to rank 7. But you can't do the same for Dragon. So if you really want dragons, buy it in the shop right now. Vera, it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. You might be better off buying the other crystals. And all the events moving forward will have crystals in the shop. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. There's at least going to be 2 of every whatever type unit it is in the shop. So
I wouldn't rely on the crystals showing up in the dragon shop, but they still might, because I think for like the last event we got flowers in the shop, and JP didn't have that either. So they could customize it for global.
It's a possibility.
Potentially.
It's more like a forewarning, just in case if it doesn't happen, because there's a chance that it wouldn't. So obviously I don't need to issue that warning for Vera though. So I think most people will be fine in that regard. Obviously, there's 100% chance that it's going to be in Vera's. Let's say 30-60 chance the other way for a Dragon Shop. I don't know, but there's a chance that it might not be there. So, get your crystals now for dragons if you're interested in that. Is what I would say. And what other units do you think are top picks this week? It seems pretty straightforward for me. Like, everyone's going to have a key for whether you run the dragon team or you run a physical team. Because you could have Slan as your leader, right? Is that probably what you're doing, Celery? You're going to have Slan as leader? since you have dragons
Uh,
and beasts, or are you gonna just stick to either dragon or being beast being the leadership?
I'll have to figure it out during the
You
hopefully
don't
during
have
my
Claude, right?
matches. I do, but he's only one awakened.
What about Hellion?
He might still be worth bringing over. Hellion's full awakened, but I just don't particularly like him this week. I'm thinking either Slan, Claude. I think that's pretty much it. Slan, Claude, possibly Hellion would be the options for my 4th A unit. Running Slan lets me give everyone 5%, which covers Kiefer. You know, if he's in a spot where he can reach everyone, it covers Kiefer, all the beasts at 5% less than with a beast leader, and Boreal. Running Boreal is literally just for Boreal. So
Well,
probably
sometimes you're not in
will-
range for leadership, so sometimes it's better to just give the one unit leadership.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll try and make sure I hit the damage threshold I'm with.
But they gave us a nice weight for this week because you get mostly A ranks as your units, like 4 A ranks. That's pretty good.
And then as far as other units, like Sharkai was saying, if you've bloomed an offensive A rank, so primarily Gigantus, also potentially Striking Sabercat, although Trop said he's not making the cut for him. And then Gigantus and Dark Skeleton are Gigantus is an auto include who's super strong if you've bloomed him. Dark Skeleton, as long as they're weak or neutral to Zam, very strong. He's got 3 move with his bloom, and if you kill a unit turn 1, he's got 4 move on turn 2. So hopefully you're taking out 2 units, or at least 1 unit and then a second unit heavily damaging.
If no one's in the wings, though, he's not getting a hit off on turn 1, unless if he's slower, and if he's slower, he could miss.
Yep. Yeah, that's the downside of Dark Skeleton. But it's also A rank week, which means 124s aren't bad. Like they're
What about with this map?
almost-
It's not. It's a bit more forgiving than other A rank weak maps, don't you think?
I think it is fairly forgiving. I just wonder if even with all the new powerful units, if we have the damage required to take everything out in 2 turns reliably.
Okay.
That's usually been the issue. I don't. I think having Percival is the biggest change because it allows you to hit more things turn 1 than we used to before we had a pull available.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. So maybe you could have Percival pull, and then you could use the skeleton. So
Yep. Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Percival pull plus skeleton is, a great option. Same as I'm using for Boreal. If you don't have a max Boreal, but you do have a bloomed maxed Dark Skeleton, combos with Percival really well. And that's about all for me. So good luck to everyone, and hope to see you all on top of the leaderboards this week.
All right.
Thanks, Celery. Have fun on Halloween.
Yeah.
I will.
You guys get some nice candy.
I was also thinking about what we wanted to do in the community as far as Reddit was considered, and content creators. People were asking around like what kind of videos they wanted posted, making like there was a poll that they were doing on Reddit, and I was thinking maybe we could start doing ranking videos for some arena units and maybe even PvE units as well, because I think we've already branched over. I think we've played so long that even players like Trop have enough units in their bucket that they could start crossing over into PvE, and it kind of benefits him to do so, because if you could cross over into PvE, then he can farm for, you know, like weapons that he could use in arena and other things that he could use in arena as well. So it seems to be working out for him pretty well. So I think we could start doing tier lists and other things of that nature. What would you think about that? What would you guys think about that?
I think it sounds like a nice idea. I'm not sure how we'd implement it. Like, do you mean tier
This-
lists on the podcast or just tier list videos? Like
Tier list videos, other videos. We could do like a collab video where we're all together on a single video doing a tier list or something.
We potentially could, yeah. If people want to have like an accurate,
Because it seems like,
sort of tier list for arena.
yeah, we see like the tier list that's listed on the Reddit page is so old. It's the one that Nibs did before he quit and before all the changes were done. So it's like we could do a 2.1 update. You know, is that what we're on? Version 2.1, 2.1.1? I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. If you're ever unsure, just look at my name in the Discord. You'll find the version we're on.
Basically, 2.1.1. Okay, that's fair enough. But yeah, we could start doing other videos. I feel like people could benefit from that, because it's like, yeah, we could talk about what units to bring this week, but what about units to train up in general? Because most people they don't know what to invest in, you know. And I could just say, oh, well, you need to invest in this thing. They're like, yeah, but I have until like 6 p.m. you know, to invest in. Like, what do you want me to do that can get me ready for that? Like, there's no way in hell, you know. So there's probably like units that we could recommend ahead of time, so people have a general idea of what they could boost and rank up and what kind of weeks they would be good and qualified for. I think that could help people out potentially.
It's interesting, but the way I look at arena and the arena meta is it's always been which units to avoid rather than which units to bring, because you never know what's in someone's box, right? And if someone has like a max awaken great dragon versus like a 1 awaken metal dragon, like I think metal dragon is probably better overall, but in that case you would always bring the great dragon, right? Whereas the way I play arena is just like I want to avoid certain people. So like early on it was avoiding Zomas, and then avoiding Sorrows, and then Starks and whatever. So
But there's usually like counter units for those. So if you do have the counter unit, it's kind of like a key to finally being able to play against those teams.
yeah, and I think like just in the last couple weeks, I always have trouble positioning against Dragon Lord, because unlike you guys, I don't have a bloomed Great Dragon that can just one-shot him, right? So that's been on the top of my avoid list.
Do you have units that are weak to Zam? Zam or Frizz?
His Frizz still hits super hard, especially if he gets a Hellfire Blast off on you.
Yeah.
And because he has the heal now, he can like that's where I'm saying you guys can one-shot him. Whereas like
I often trigger his
him
heal
and then...
though, honestly, lately, instead of one-shotting him. But yeah, I chances I could one-shot him with the Great Dragon.
I think it's actually really not a bad idea. If we can kind of take ideas from both of you and do a tier list for what units you should bring, and then also do an avoid tier list. I feel like no one else is doing an avoid tier list.
I typically wouldn't want to do what everyone else does, which is rank A, rank B, rank C, rank D, F. You know, like no, like I would. Like, let's say it's for PvE. Like, what if we do a playlist for a tier list for PvE, right? And well, we could do the thing like The top of the tier list is must-have units, and must-have, if we were to qualify what must-have means, we would say that these are units that are required for clearing some content, and in general are good. Like overall, you could just be used just like as an ad that's really good for every piece of content ever. Like Seraphie would be there, right? So she's required for some content, and she's a really good ad for others. And then there's other units. So you could make a totally different category, and you could say, okay, here are units that are required for some content, right? But they're not like the best units ever, but they're required for some content, right? Like you could have Grendel. You could have, who else is a replacement for Grendel? The Nimzo, right? And units like that could be in the required for some category. Malroth, stuff like that. I think Malroth probably itches into really all around good though, but stuff like that. Because obviously no one wants to pull for Nimzo. Nobody wants to pull for Nimzo. Almost nobody, right? But if you had enough money to throw around and you got everyone that is required for some content, then you have all the units that are required for all of the content, if that makes sense. And maybe you don't care to clear all of the content, but it would be nice if we categorize things by that. And it's like, okay, here's avoids. Here's units that you don't need to worry about. Here's units that are okay brings that are nice to have. Here are units that are required. Here are units that are nice to have and required, which is just like Seraphie. Required for some, basically. And she's almost required for all, That's how good she is. I'm joking, of course, but we saw people get by with using Emperor Slimes instead of Seraphies on a lot of content, and I think that was pretty interesting to see.
So where would you rank someone like Ragnar, who you were talking about earlier, right? Because everyone hates on Ragnar, and he's never been good in Arena.
But he's always good in PvE. So
he's always like, for boss fights, you need him if you're free to play or budget.
Right. So you could put him as required for some under like a category of free to play, right? Like budget. So required for budget, right? I don't think he's required anymore, but considering that Reminiscence is a thing, some people might want to play past events. I don't know if they would have the required units by then. Other newer units that might play Ragnar's part better, but maybe, Ragnar's a definite bring. So he would be in a useful category, right? He's not required, but he could be if you don't have access to some other units, basically, right? Grendel kind of falls into that category in a sense, because if you had access to Nimzo, would you really need Grendel? But I don't know. Whose banner is Grendel on, or is he farmable?
He's on the blue Hellion.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to pull a bit on that then. Ugh. See, that's an example of a required gotcha unit, right? I would also put Percival as required for some content. He seems to be in like a whole ton of clear videos. No, I'd put him overall useful because he's just in the same category as Seraphie, so I'd put him right at the top. Required for some, but overall useful for a lot of things. So Percival, Seraphie probably would be in the top tier. And again, because like when we're talking about PvE clears, you need the full team to do a clear. You need 5 units to do a clear, and sometimes for events like Sorrow's Peak, you need multiple units to do a whole event, a whole game mode. So I would say I wouldn't just say, oh, Seraphie, and that's it. Have Seraphie and you're set for the future. No, you need Seraphie, you need Percival, you need this, you need that. People need to know what to farm. So it's not just gotcha units. It's also what you need to farm and max. Because maybe people wanted to avoid farming for Cumulus Vex, so that way they could have done other things. I mean, I probably could have done that. I opted to max him, but he's probably not that good. I could have avoided him if I wanted to. I just thought he'd be interesting. So that might be something for people to consider. Save them time. And then after this week, looks like we're gonna have another waitlist week. Are you guys excited for that?
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I got some good waitlist units, and as much as I love the meme, by the time the next waitlist week is ready, I'll actually have a awakened over killing machine, so he'll actually be able to move 3, which might be a game changer right there.
Really? Because you're gonna change the game from going from first place to what's the place that comes after first place? Do we know? Is there a category beyond that yet?
Does that even exist? No, I'm just kidding. But it's 5 units, right? I think a lot of people forget that I literally, for the most part, I have 4 strong units that they see in every week, but I don't really have a 5th strong unit. So I
Who's your
think
fifth bring
overkilling
every
machine.
week generally? It's Gremlin,
I
right?
bring Gray Dragon, Metal Dragon. Oh, the filler. It's either depends on the weight. It's either Gremlin or Ghost. But the 4 that people see every week in Arena, they see Gray Dragon from me, Metal Dragon, Dragonlord True Form, and Halberd Saurus. And one of the reasons they see those 4 is because apart from that, I don't really have anything that's that strong. Like I have a One Awakened to Stark, maybe a One Awakened Sorrow, but I think a One Awakened Overkilling Machine is going to be better than both of them. So yeah, I'll be able to use that next waitlist week, which I think is going to be good.
I feel
I'm
like
excited to use them myself. I've seen pretty much everyone else use them by now, and soon I'll actually get to use them myself, which is pretty nice.
you might experience some of the suffering I experienced by using Overkilling Machine. Finally using a unit, that isn't breath. It'd be interesting because you might center a play around that unit and maybe he misses or maybe something happens. Maybe he's too fast. And physical units are kind of weird with their positioning. He has the same linear range as like Sorrow, but he doesn't have AoE with it, right? You know what I mean? And then he does have AoE on a different hit, but it's not quite as far as it's basically Zoma Glacial Doom range, if that makes sense. Given the difference in their movement, but also the difference in their ranges, basically nets to the same thing. Unless if there's blocks blocking you, which there will be. There will be blocks, so it might be even trickier using an Overkilling Machine that week, but we'll see.
I think Prop and I probably have similar play styles, and I'll just say, like, sometimes OKM can be a bit awkward. And I was saying, for example, like this week, if I could have substituted a bloomed Great Dragon instead of OKM, I would have. But that's not to say that OKM performed badly or anything. It's just he's sometimes a bit awkward to use for what we're trying to do with our teams.
Yeah, I can feel it because I kind of have a hybrid team going most times.
You guys are a bit cursed with Overkilling Machine. Like I think last week, Starscream was pointing out how he won, but it wasn't with Overkilling Machine on the team. And then this week he got insanely close to winning with Overkilling Machine on the team, but then the curse set out. So yeah, that's crazy. I think you guys haven't won with Overkilling Machine on your team yet. So
I haven't won with anything on my team yet, quite yet. Anyway, I've gotten close a few times. It's just, man, playing around crits is kind of strange, I feel like they could eliminate the RNG that's not part of the, like a kit, right? Like if crit is built into your kit, keep it. But if crit isn't built into your kit, I mean, they already reduce damage for Arena, right? For a reason. There's a reason why they reduce damage. So you can't instantly get one shot. So you can't instantly one shot, generally. It makes moving in for a play nicer. That's why they are going to increase HP eventually. There's a reason for that. So I feel like if they were trying to account for these things, they should have accounted for crits. Again, unless if it was part of someone's kit. If they had 5% crit in their kit, then keep it. That's part of their build, obviously. But having 1% crit for everyone, just base for Arena, I think they should just eliminate crit. That 1% base crit from Arena, but that's just my thought. Do you think anyone's going to, given that the map is different this week, do you think that people will manage to get perfects this week? It's something that probably hasn't been done any A rank and below week ever, I believe.
That's a good question. So, for me, no, I'm just I think it's always hard to get perfect during this week, but I want to say that it might be possible, and I'll try for it. Because the thing is, every A or below week, the unit pool gets better and better,
Mm-hmm.
slightly, and we have Kiefer who can attack multiple things at once. We have Percival, which can attack multiple things at once.
I
We
guess
have,
Cyclops
I
can
guess,
hit multiple
Swan, which
things at
can kind of
once.
attack multiple things at once. We have Claude, can attack multiple things at once, and then we have Saber Cub that can only attack one thing, but it can attack it pretty hard. So,
Without much
um,
weight.
d- depending on a little bit of matchup luck, good positioning skills, and a little bit of good luck from the positioning of the opponents, I think a perfect week is possible this week. I don't think it's going to be easy, and I don't know if anyone's going to do it, but I think it's possible.
Are you aiming to 128 any of your matches this week, or are you still aiming for 124s? Because previous A rank and below week, a 124 was considered perfect, basically, and then a 128 was just like one turning, basically. It felt like what the equivalent would have been one turning when you only needed to two turn.
No, I think last A week you pretty much like no one got perfect, but to get top 10 you had to get 128 most of the time.
Most of the time? Okay.
Yeah. I can't for the life of me remember what me and Starscream ended up at, but we didn't lose that many points. Sure, we
It was
lost.
either like -8 or -12 or something like that. It wasn't much.
Yeah, so it was intense, and we still lost by 4 points. So, it was pretty close to a perfect week for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I think the game has changed since the first one. Yeah, like what I've mentioned. Um, if you can play well, all the AOE that's been given to us, like think about how many units at a time Claude can hit, a Kiefer can hit, Percival can hit potentially. Um, even Swan can kind of hit. He has like a weaker rolling attack, but I mean, I don't know. Frizz is going to be a good element, and he might get his rare attack buff. Like, I just think we have more tools than ever before. And having been someone who was only 4 points away from winning the last week, and maybe like Starscream said, 12 points off a perfect score, I I think I think this week it's possible. And the thing is, I don't know if you know, but I announced it on a few platforms already, but I'm actually going to be streaming with commentary the whole week because I figure this is going to be a good week for me to do it because of the fact that there's no S week, so it's kind of like mostly a free to play week. I'm going to be trying to share my knowledge of how I play, how I try to play around things, and I don't know. I'm kind of excited for that. I think this will be the perfect week to try and do that.
So you think because you don't have to bring in the same team that you usually do, that it's worth talking about, right? Because like typically for a waitlist week or a typical week, you're going to have like your whole breath team basically. So
Yeah,
this time you don't have to, I
like
guess.
I wouldn't mind doing that either technically because that team, like that whole team you see there, as ridiculous as it sounds, that whole team cost me $0. But I just think it wouldn't be as effective as trying to do a guide with units that almost everyone has, and then seeing that there are better decisions they can make or there are different positioning they could do. I think it'd be easier to kind of bring attention to it this week where everyone has access to a similar pool of units.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, sure, in the future, I might do more of these kind of streams, but I think the No S week will be a good week to get the attention, to kind of get the eyes on this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think I would enjoy seeing you stream for a change. Uh, it'd be nice because I feel like we could get more people into streaming, more people into posting in general. I think because if we feature more people's content, then the community's tighter knit, it grows a bit more, maybe even, more stuff out there for people to enjoy and see. Because it's all people make content. None of it's just scheduled. None of it is organized, in a way that people would just want to flock and come over there and see their usual show and expect these things to come constantly. And it just comes out whenever. So I feel like people might enjoy some consistent content. And Arena's definitely consistent. It's a daily thing. You never know when an event might drop sometimes. So we do get roadmaps now, so that's nice.
Yeah, and I'd be super interested because, like I said, I think we probably have similar play styles. Whereas to contrast that, like when I'm watching Pac do his arena streams, like we are very much opposite.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there has to be times in the week when I'm in my right state of mind that we're playing the same, right? No?
I mean, you have a different unit composition as well, so you're never gonna
okay,
play the
okay.
same.
If you had my units, though, you'd probably still play a little differently. Be honest.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. That's another thing I wanted to see. I wanted to see a week where maybe not for ranked matches, but maybe mock battles, where we could play with each other's teams and see what we could get away with, fighting against, like typical teams that we'd try to avoid. So bad matchups. I would love to see what I could do with your team, or what you would, if you would struggle with mine, or vice versa. Maybe you'd do better with my team than I would have. Maybe I'd do better with your team. I doubt it, but I think that would be an interesting thing for viewers to see, as well as mock battles.
How do we do that? Oh, like for the free fights, right?
Oh yeah. Unless if you want me to play your ranked matches for you, because you never know which pack you're gonna get. You might get sleepy late night pack, or you might get a normal pack. So it's really a gamble, and it's up to you. You guys like making the side bets as I'm doing my matches, so that's a great time to do it. Bet with your own accounts. Bet with your own ranked matches. Why don't you? That's a great idea.
That actually reminds me that I wanted to quickly point out, because I was kind of proud of this. But do you remember when Celery shared that puzzle? He's like, spot the 128. I kind of gave him my line of play, and it shows that my line of play actually had a less % crit chance than what he did, and he's like, yeah, that would have been pretty good too. And it just makes you realize that a lot of it is kind of positioning, and just quickly, like a mini snippet, envisioning the battle before it happens, which is easy to do. It takes like 30 seconds to think how everything is going to move, and then just do stuff based on that. Because, like, honestly, I play around crits, but for anyone that's seen my videos or seen my streams, I still play arena pretty quick. Like, I still get it done in 10 to 15 minutes despite playing around crits. It's just, I guess, something I do subconsciously. And it's something that because I don't like crits. I don't like them, but they're not going to go away. So you can either try to play around them the best you can, or you can kind of vent about it when you do get crit. And
we're gonna start seeing more breath and more. I think with the beast banners, we're gonna see a lot of martial as well. We got our blooms early, which makes breath and martial that much better. Because that's part of what made the rise of martial and breath was that in JP. And the fact that we got it earlier means people are going to put infrastructure. They're going to scale into it earlier. So by the time stuff like I don't know, Nocturnus and other powerful units roll around, people will be even more engrossed into the martial breath meta than they would have on the JP side of things. So I think it's going to be nice, both playing and playing against, because you're not going to get crit. So that
too, yeah, that would be nice.
That might be good.
Like, even though I heard Vera hits hard and it might even hit for like 900 with Marshall, in a way you can still play a plan around that. You know what it'll do, you know, whatever. Whereas physical, dude, physical crits are the absolute worst. Because it just takes defense to zero, and this will just keep getting worse and worse as the unit levels get higher, because it just treats your unit as a zero defense unit. So it'll hit for 1200, it'll hit for 2000. You know, who knows? At least magic. Like, I don't like crits anyways, but I can at least handle magic crits because magic usually uses an element, unless it's Zoma, which I usually avoid Zoma, but it uses an element. And sometimes I do the quick math in my head. Like, I'll put a Great Dragon. I'm like, okay, so if White King crits, it'll leave my Great Dragon with like roughly 50 to 100 HP. No one else is attacking it. That's fine. And then I take the risk or whatever if I need to. But with physical, it's just like, okay, so if that crits, it's just gonna one shot my unit from full HP, and there's nothing I can do about it. So what I would love to see is the meta moving away from a physical meta, and I feel like at least my team, I've definitely played a part in that. I've completely removed myself from the physical meta for a while now. It might be coming back a little bit when I get my OKM. I'm gonna want to try it out. Because during waitlist week, I'm still gonna have my 4 all-stars that I use every week, right? Overkilling Machine is just gonna be a bonus, so I'm sure he's gonna be good anyways. Or I might play with the new Dimension Dragon that I get. I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do for waitlist week. I might either bring Dimension, Overkilling Machine, or I could play with the King She-Slam. I don't know. I've got options.
I think trying out the Overkilling Machine is going to kind of solidify for you whether you're going to want to use him in the future or not, because I don't see him synergizing so well for waitlist teams. I mean, other than when there's a wing, you know, when there is a rose on the left and the right that just has one tile up, kind of like what we do with the A rank only week. So you could kind of move in like an assassin rather than AoE breath, basically. But I don't see you using Overkilling Machine typically on your team. It just doesn't synergize well with it.
And maybe it's because I'm a little bit stubborn or something like that. But when I hear stuff like that, I'm always curious. I'm like, you know, people are saying that, but I always want to see it for myself, right? So
I mean, try it on my account. Just go ahead and try it on my account. See what you could do. I don't mind.
Okay. I guess do you
I mean, you could either
where
watch
you
me and
stream it?
instruct me on how to move, or I could straight up just give you the login, because honestly it doesn't bother me, because I know you have a better team than me. So I'm like, is Trop gonna steal my account? Probably not. You know, he's probably not gonna steal my account.
But I don't really want to do that anyway. I'd rather just kind of how Celery did with me, where you have me on a voice call and you're streaming,
Mm-hmm.
and I essentially just tell you how to move your units. That could be an interesting.
There's just going to be a delay,
idea.
but yeah, you could do it that way as well. That's why I
Yeah.
gave both options. I'm just saying that I don't mind. But
Well, it's going to be like a small delay. I think it was fine. Like you saw when I did it with Celery, the delay is kind of negligible. So I think it could work out as long as your
but it
connection's
stacks,
good.
right? Because there's a consistent delay throughout the entirety of the stream, right? So it's if everything was pushed back 10 seconds, that's fine. But if it's pushed back 10 seconds for every interaction, you know what I mean? Then it adds up. I just use the number 10 because that's a easy number to work with. But
And I mean, people are going to want to kind of see you on the stream too, anyways. Like if I recover the account, it wouldn't make much sense. Like, what would I be doing?
you'd
Just
still have me
streaming
on.
on your-
I would still be called into you. You'd be sharing your screen. They would see my face. They would hear my voice, and that would be the difference there, right? But that is just an idea I threw out there. It doesn't obviously it doesn't have to be that way. It still could be the other way, because we're still going to be talking over what happens. So that's going to take the
Yeah.
bulk of the time. It's probably just discussing, so that way we're really sure of what's going on. You're sharing your ideas of why you're moving a certain way rather than just moving that way. Because if you had control of my account, you'd probably just move, and I'd be like, so why'd you do that? And you'd be like, oh, don't worry about it, you know. But like, if I'm moving the units, then I'm probably gonna be like, okay, why am I moving it here again? So that it's a thing to think about. Um, I think
Actually, that's a good point too, especially because I tend to think, subconsciously and really fast that I'll just do something and people wonder why did he do that? Whereas if you're streaming and I'm telling you what to do, I am also telling you why, essentially, and then I think that could be pretty entertaining.
yeah,
It's
I try
actually
to
good.
because I'm not a guy that typically thinks out loud. So it's hard for you to try to put yourself in the position of the viewer and constantly have to think, oh wait, the viewer doesn't know what I just did here. I probably have to say this out loud. And I've been I try to do that when I stream, but it's not always the easiest. I mean, for someone like Purplatypus, it comes naturally, right? He could probably say what
Mhm.
people are wanting to ask just right off the top of his head, right? He has that kind
Yeah.
of gravitas and personality and kind of pull for his channel. So that's good for him. But we could emulate it. We could try our best to try to capture a bit of that. Um, but there's another question I had because you were mentioning defense and uh, crits ignoring defense. For arena, it seems to me that unlike PvE content, where you could work around RNG in PvE, you don't want to work around RNG in arena. So yeah, you could get crit in PvE, but it's still nice to build defense in PvE because, well, maybe you do want this unit to do less damage than you, and if he does happen to crit you, well, then you just reset and try again. But so for arena, the only time that defense is useful is against physical units and when they don't crit you. So are you building your weapons and armor with HP then instead of defense? Is that how you guys do things, or do you have a PvE defense armor and then you have an HP arena armor that you roll for or something? Because like obviously we don't have enough Omni stones to roll the S rank armor yet, but maybe we might get an armor in the future that we could roll that's S rank, or we already have a sword that we could roll that's HP oriented. So do you typically would you rather have the HP on the sword, like because sometimes you have to build agility, right? So would you rather have a cloak with agility and a weapon with HP, or would you rather have a weapon with agility and then and like an armor with HP type of thing, stuff like that? Like I'm just curious how you guys handle your defensive side of things and your equipment as far as that goes, because obviously I could see if you stream, I can see what kind of equipment you're bringing. I know you're bringing the Okeanos sword. I know you rolled like 3 HPs on it, but like typically when we're watching people stream and we do see their equipment, we don't see what the rolls are, so we don't know what you're doing with your inventory there for your equipment. So can you share with us really quick what you do with that? And is
Oh,
it more
absolutely. I
PVE
think
or
at
arena
least
or
for me,
both?
I'll try to keep it quick, but at least I'll say for arena because I'm mostly an arena guy. Um, as far as PvE, honestly, Star might be the better person to ask, but in arena, I have a pretty unique strategy on my rolls. I don't go for one thing in specific. Actually, um, what's really been working out for me is the hybrid rolls, I guess you call it.
Mm-hmm.
And full disclosure, you know how every week we get 4 Omni Alchemy stones? I always use all 4 of those on the heavy blade, which is the blade that gives the inorganic martial potency. And this week I actually got a half decent roll. I got inorganic martial potency 3%, and I got 2 agility rolls. I got agility roll 9 and agility roll 8. And while agility usually isn't the best on the sword, one of the reasons I'm excited for this is because I mentioned earlier I ran into a problem by accidentally making my Dragon Lord true form a little bit faster than my Metal Dragon. And this fixes that problem, and it makes me realize that what I would actually want on this heavy blade ideally is maybe 2 rainbow martial potencies and then just any agility roll, just so I can keep him faster than the Dragon Lord true form. And this also keeps me from not having to buy the agility node, because that would be kind of expensive, is buying his agility node. Like now with this new role, I'm still dealing 7% martial potency, and my agility's at 404, so I'm pretty happy with that. But anyways, that's just one weapon. On Great Dragon, I've got a mix of health and crack breath potency. Dragonlord True Form, I would have loved to have all breath, but it just so happened to be 2 breaths and 1 attack, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, so I mostly, to summarize, I mostly do kind of a hybrid strategy, and I like focusing on damage more than anything. But a little bit of HP is good. I don't focus too heavily on HP. Like if a unit is above 1,000, that's usually good enough for me. Like a crit's gonna kill it anyways, pretty much no matter how much it has. So I'm not worried about that in that sense.
Ironic.
Yeah, I'd say damage is good. Speed is kind of good.
Ironically enough, I've have an Okeanos blade with a gold, silver HP, and then a gold agility. Like it's 17. That's a lot of agility. 17 agility is a lot, and it was just happened to be what I could get with it. And in a few cases, would it have been better that I had full HP? Yeah. But in some cases, it's actually saved my ass having that agility. So I don't know what to do with it anymore because I could spend more money, more gold, and try to get the full HP roll and get some benefit in some circumstances. But it's going to cost me a lot, and I'm basically trading off a few scenarios for a few other scenarios. So I don't know. I don't know what to do there. It's like having a kid and then okay, do you want to go back in time? And because have you ever heard that kind of question where they're like, if you had the chance not to date this person and you could date this other person after realizing how bad of a person they were, would you do that? And it's like, well, I have kids. Now that I have kids, no, right? Because I wouldn't have, I wouldn't want to go into a timeline where my kids don't exist anymore. But like, if you never had those kids, then it's easier to make that decision of never meeting that person, right? Theoretically. So it's like if I never had circumstances where that 17 agility would have made the difference in a few circumstances, then yeah, maybe I would have gone the HP. But now I don't know. I really don't know, and I'm kind of confused. But if you had the ability to roll the armors, so let's eliminate agility entirely, right? Purely defense and purely HP. Let's even imagine there's weapons with defense and HP for some reason, like your double shield, your I don't know, like have you seen one of those daggers that's like a guard breaker or whatever, where you catch a sword and then you don't break the sword. That thing would probably break sooner than a sword would, but you try to twist it out of someone's hand or something, or maybe a buckler or something, right? Maybe that in the future might be the offensive slot, and the offensive slot is a defensive slot again. So maybe, I don't know, but let's stick to armor then, like rolls for defense and rolls for HP. Throwing agility out because it seems like agility and potency matter in some other situations, but when you have to choose between HP and defense, what do you do usually with your stuff? So there's that one poison armor, right? The A rank poison armor. That's a good example. Like, did you roll defense or HP for that?
HP.
HP. Okay.
It's pretty simple. I'll just do like a short summary. Like defense gives you defense against physical. HP essentially gives you defense against everything. So.
But also against crits because defense doesn't help against crits.
Yeah, and if we could go back a little bit, I also wanted to quickly hear Starscream's what to roll on the weapons.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I've always rolled HP on pretty much everything, but when you start to deal with the PvE side of things, like especially with more recent content, you realize that okay, stuff like defense does matter. Stuff like agility to manipulate turn order against known quantities, because you don't know that in arena what the enemy's agility is, but you do in PvE. So that matters a lot. So I don't know. Now that we have like so many weapons, I would say my methodology to rolling for weapons in the future is I've already got a triple HP sword, so next time I get like a really good sword, maybe I go for like all attack or something like that, right? So you want to handle all your different cases that you can run into.
It's kind of difficult, right? Like liquid metal sword, the only way to roll that one specifically would be to use the very limited Omni stones for the S rank Omni stones that you could get from Arena, or that you got from Orgo de Mir Mega Boss Battle. So
Well, you two don't use any of your arena tokens, so I know you're just sitting on piles that you could grab the S material.
I mean, Trop's sitting on more piles, especially since my performance has gone down as of late. Getting a lot of like 51. I literally placed into 51 after, and here I was expecting to get my first, and I land into 51. So that was pretty funny. But so it's definitely gone down. My income's gone down. I would like, if I was like rank 1 every week, I'd get both the armor. I know it's like 3,000 or something, right? Because they both cost like 300 each, and you could get 5 every month. So that's like 3,000 between the armor and the sword that you could spend, technically. And if I had first every week, I would have a few hundred more, and I feel like I could spend that much by the time that, Black Knight or Schwarzschild or Iron Knight, whatever they're going to call him, rolls around, and then I'd still be fine. But as it stands now, like, we're probably going to get 10,000 more. I'm going to get probably 10,000 more if I stay top 50 every week, which I probably won't. Look, I got 51. If I could stay top 50 every week up until Schwarzschild comes out, I'll probably get like 10,000 more tokens, right? That's enough to max him. And I'm sitting at like 8,000 something right now, maybe 9,000. And I have 2 awakenings on Arena Cat. So I only have 8 more copies of him that I could buy if I wanted to. That's like 6,400. So if I wanted, I could buy the swords this month, but I couldn't buy them next month or the month after that, all the way up until Schwarzschild came out, because I want to max him when he comes out. So it's things to think about. I mean, if I didn't care about the arena units, then I would just get the Omni Stones every week and just roll forever. Because, I mean, maybe the arena units aren't that good anyway, depending on what you're going for. Like, the inorganic one's an easy skip for people that don't have inorganic physical teams, because he's literally useless for everything else, right? Like, he could be useless for everything else. So I don't know. I know that with weapons like Liquid Metal Sword, sure, it's an HP weapon, but it has a 4% physical passive. So I'm kind of hesitant to remove the, is it 8 attack and 8 attack that it has on its rolls or something like that? Because it's already semi-physical, right? Like, Okeanos Sword doesn't have a chance in hell of being a physical weapon because its passive doesn't scale. I don't know if it scales off of your auto attack if it was Zap, but I don't know. It just doesn't scale too much with physical anyway, so it's easy to make that agility or HP. And you have to be careful though. Some swords. So there's a few different tiers of swords. I'm gonna say that really quick. We're gonna have a few swords in the future that are kind of like the Infernal Sword from Orochi, the Infernal Saber, I believe it's called. Its HP roll is something like 69 or 68. I can't remember, right? For gold. But for Liquid Metal Sword, for Estark, for Okeanos, and I think there's one more. I can't remember off the top of my head. Those 3 swords, let's say, you could get a roll of 79 HP. You can't do that with some of the other swords. I wouldn't roll HP on an axe. I wouldn't roll HP on... I'd probably roll it on flail. If I could re-roll flail, they have They have rainbow rolls for that, for HP and attack. I would take any rainbow rolls on a flail. That would be amazing. But going back, those 3 swords are great, but the other swords have a lower attack. So I would roll, like for the Infernal Sword, I'd roll Breath Potency, the Frizz Breath Potency, because it's like, or Brilliance or Potency. Why would I go for the less HP? It doesn't make sense. I already have an HP weapon. But if I had 5 Okeanos swords that I could basically use on every unit, I probably would. Like, it's that good of a weapon. So I don't know how good it is to have a dedicated HP weapon, because you kind of need multiple dedicated HP weapons, because a lot of units could require HP. So I don't know.
I guess we have 2 now, though, with the Platinum Sword, don't we?
Platinum Sword could revert back to being a Sizz or Crack Breath weapon if you want. So that's...
I guess, yeah, if you want to spend the...
I'm not going to. I don't have enough. For me, I use Platinum Sword for higher HP units because it has, what is it, 3% HP as its passive? Right?
So.
Yeah, so for higher HP units, since I don't have the 3rd HP roll on my Okeanos Sword, it actually gives more HP for me on my higher HP units. And then for my lower HP units, I stick with the Okeanos Sword, typically. So I'm not going to re-roll it. I just don't have the gold. But any other thoughts on that, you think, you guys? I have to remember to ask Celery that too one day, because I'm sure he would have his input. I've definitely used defense for PvE, because when you're healing on PvE, though, you basically have a larger HP pool than you really have. And it's not a liquid HP pool, like it's not present and ready, but it's there. You know, like you can't take a 800 damage hit if you're below 800 health, but at the very least, if you're taking consistent damage, you could consistently heal through it, and defense is better in that case, because you might save MP by healing less, or whatever the case may be. But for arena, I think defense is useless. I think, yeah, sometimes it does save you from a physical attack, but what if they crit? And we have to start preparing for what if they crit. Because I just don't see a way around people getting perfects in arena every week if they can't figure out how to eliminate crit entirely. Because it's just, the devs aren't doing it, so we have to. If I had a perfect HP roll, weapons, and armor, maybe my Great Dragon would have survived, or something, or maybe my because I got crit on Halberd, which was surprising. You know, he has so much defense that you typically don't think he's going to die, right? I thought Great Dragon would die. I thought Great Dragon would get crit. He's the one with the brilliance. Would have got hit with brilliance for Whoosh, but he survived somehow, or Zap from Bianca. And Halberd got crit and died, so that was shocking. That Bianca could crit and kill my Halberd was shocking. Pun not intended there, but because it's a Zap ability. But you know,
I have 3 swords that are all HP, and they're all super useful, especially for PvE. Like sometimes you need to use all 3 of them in the same match for PvE. I never use any of those in arena, though.
I feel like we don't have enough flail type stuff. If we had more flail type weapons, because even the axes aren't as strong as the flails are for damage. If we had more flail types, then I'd probably roll Liquid Metal Sword for HP as well. I'd probably roll that. Because I use it as a substitute attack weapon sometimes. It has HP and attack, and I don't know, it's a nice weapon sometimes, but it would have been nice having a 3rd HP option.
There's the one axe, I don't know what it's called, but I'm probably using that on Kiefer this week.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna roll the axe for anything but potency and attack probably. But Yeah, I see what you mean. It's the Demon King axe. Demon King Orgo axe.
Oh no, not that one. It's the one that has like frizz potency or something like that.
Oh yeah. It has frizz and physical and attack. I use that for Kiefer sometimes too. I think I might have used it a few times during a Mega Orgo boss fight as well. He seems to work out pretty well on either Hellion or Kiefer.
I tested it out, and I think other than the flail and maybe liquid metal, I don't remember, but it's one of the top 3 weapons for Kiefer damage-wise.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a flail for everything, you'd always bring it, but you don't. Let me see what people in the comments were saying, because we talked a lot here. For sure, a sword breaker depends on what you want to do. Like 25 requires a lot of defense. That's true. Anyone in chat have questions? I rolled triple HP on an axe. That's a great question. It's not good. I'm off. Ciao. Okay, see, I didn't see that. But all right, see you later, man. Shark Eye. All right, well, we're going to probably sign off here. Do you guys have closing thoughts about this week? The week that we just finished? Arena, PvE, anything really that you want to add? That we might have missed?
Yeah, I'll just say one more time, if Percival ruins someone's perfect week because he hits blind on a few units, don't be surprised. But I don't know what the AI's preferred attack is on Percival.
I think it's just whatever the player sets it to. I don't know. So maybe Fight Wisely is going to be interesting this week. Is that on his rolling attack, or is it on the back end?
It's on the rolling attack.
Okay, he's going to use that a lot because that's a lot of damage. So I don't think the AI is going to choose it anyway. But the pull counts as somewhat of a status ailment kind of thing where it has priority as well, right?
I'll say if you want to troll people this week, you can put a jellied weapon on your Vex, and then it can just go and push people away.
No. Avoid any Rex fights this week. Or put him all the way in the back and give him no agility. That's also a nice troll to, give him Sword of Ruin. Ruin someone's perfect week. I was like, what are some nice things that we could add to this? And Starscream's like, if you really want to ruin someone's week, why would we end it there? Come on. And then I think Trop's off. Is he doing Apex already? What's going on here? Has Arena started? Have we got the updates? No, we haven't.
Back. Sorry, I was just in a call.
Oh, okay. Any closing thoughts that we might have missed that you want to add? This week, the week that we just finished, future, upcoming, PvE, units, anything, Arena, anything. Go ahead and add.
I really don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. I'm definitely excited for Dragonfest in a few hours. That's going to be pretty sick. Otherwise, I don't really know. I think we've covered a lot. Like,
do you have the tomes to max them?
For 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
This podcast, I think we've covered a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to Dragonfest. The only replacement I might make on my team, even though it's a beast team, if the Baramos Bloom somehow becomes available right at reset, I might replace Slon for Boreal, because that's single target ice attack combined with him being able to move around the whole map, combined with the ice attack giving him 3 stages up on his rolling attack. Yeah, that might edge him over Slon, even though that would lose the beast leadership. So we'll see. I'll most likely go Slon, but if they give an option to Bloom, Boreal, even though my Boreal is only 2 awaken. And I even brought him when he was 1 awaken. Like bringing low awaken units to arena doesn't scare me as much, as long as they're good units. So yeah, if he gets bloomed, I'll still bring him.
I guess I can ask you guys this question. I have about 20k gold and 3 nodes of Saber Cub that I need to bloom. So would you do that?
I wouldn't do the rare attack one, because if you're planning on using him for arena or stuff like Sorrow's Peak maybe, and that kind of content where you have to, or weighted content like we did with the weight trials and the tablets or whatever. So I wouldn't
Sorry,
try
what
to
is
go for the
next
rare
one? My memory's
attack.
bad.
Yeah, I would try not to go for the rare attack buff thing node, because what's the point? It's RNG. And do you want to rely on RNG in arena? Probably not. I would bloom every other node, big main node other than that. And as far as allocation of talent points, I would max agility first. I would straight up max agility. I would straight up max HP, and then I would max all of his attack and potency that I could. And then I'd move on to resistances. I would literally do it in that order. For the smaller nodes.
Oh, is there a node that just gives it pure attack? Like I know there's a crit chance and a rare attack prep. I
No,
think
there's no
maybe
big node, but
Starscream
there's little nodes that do that.
has enough money to do one more node. Which node would you do?
Say what now?
Oh, I don't know. I'm like, if Starscream might be asking if you only had enough gold to devote to one additional node. I think he's asking what's the best node out of the 3 to do. I think it's definitely not the crit chance. You don't want to rely on getting crits.
Yeah, it's not the crit chance. It's not the rare attack. It's definitely the ability. You want to have the ability. You want to have the ability, and then probably the other one.
But what is the other one? Is it just straight up attack?
I think it's HP. What is it?
It's plus 10 attack.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, yeah, I'd choose the straight up attack instead of the chance for attack.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, I probably wouldn't even touch the other ones because I don't until like PvE runs rolls around. That's just me though. So that way I could probably save gold and other things for other units. That's my guess is what I would do. It's my recommendation I'd give everyone as well. But yeah, when you're looking at the mini nodes, agility, HP, attack, and then all the potency and brilliance in that order, and then resistances to obviously don't get like a resistance in what's he weak to? He's weak to Crack and Frizz? No, Crack and Zam? Frizz and Zam? What's he weak to? Whatever. Like if there isn't a Zam martial ability that you see in arena, obviously and there's no Zam breath, but there's Zam physical, right? Like boost is Zam physical resistance, but ignore the breath one. You know what I mean? So when you do work your way to resistances, just use your head. You obviously probably know which ones are going to be important and which ones currently there are no abilities for, or if there are, they're probably not used in an arena much or at all. So that's my recommendation. And use Rough Claws on him, and that's it.
Seems pretty good. I think that's what I'm using on him too, Saber Code.
And build the Blizzard Rush as his scroll, because that's a good ability, elemental type coverage. If someone resists his was it Beast Claw, or heavily resists it, then he could rely on that, because he's probably either going to get neutral at the very least, or he's going to get brilliance on it, and that's going to be a good secondary ability to have. So that's it, yeah. Anyways, guys, this has been the pack, and this is the Arena Watch podcast. We had Celery earlier, and this is Trop and Starscream. So see you guys next week, same time, about 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. PST. We usually go on for an hour, hour and a half, maybe more. It's always going to be before Arena Reset, though, however we schedule it. Go ahead and subscribe down below if you want to join the pack with the pack. Go ahead and if you have something to say, write it in the comments down below. If you like this video, then like this video. If you want other people to be enthusiastic about Arena the way we are, go ahead and share this video. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff yourself, go ahead and hit that bell icon to get those notifications. This ain't Twitch. Join Kage's gaming Discord server for all the best underground DQT conversations, and go ahead and join my server for all the best DQT guides. We'll have the Dragon Fest up. That one is going to be pretty hard. It's nice that we have S7 though, which I don't think JP had, or they didn't have the rank ups in the shop. I can't remember, one of the two. But we'll have those sections up. If you want to throw in videos yourself, feel free to, so you can save me the trouble. I'll try to do the sections and the categories at the very least. Anyways, guys, this has been the pack signing out. Peace.